Good morning, or good afternoon. You are listening to Miss Hill's lecture on the Paleolithic era, especially the lifestyle characteristics. Before I go into the notes, I want to go over a logistic of how these notes work with fill in the blank. So right now, this is the student copy that you're about to see. And the first answer is going to be archaeologist, which goes here. The thing is, if I put my cursor here and type, see how that line keeps moving? And it's going to push all of this out of the way. You've told me about that, and I know what's important is that when there's this blank, just delete it and then type. Okay, and again, so this word is going to be fluid, and to see if I type, it moves everything over, and that's okay if you don't mind, but some of you have told me you don't like that. Well, easy fix, just backspace, and then bingo. So let me add this back in. Okay, now to lecture. So Paleolithic era and lifestyle characteristics. How do we know about this era? The lovely archaeologists that work sites. So archaeologists dig sites where they slowly strip soil away to find artifacts. They don't want to go in with a bulldozer into the soil because they want to see those layers of the dirt, and also a bulldozer could destroy some artifacts. Archaeologists want to find artifacts as whole as they can be. So for a teapot, while it's wonderful to find pieces, if they can find a teapot that's half or almost all intact, they want to find it that way. A reminder that history is fluid. So as archaeologists discover more artifacts, historians can put more pieces together to have a better interpretation of what life was like. And what life, I'm going to make that edit now. So sorry. What life is like. We hope that we have a good idea of what the Paleolithic era was like, but without written record that provides some context of what items are and how clans, the family-based clans are run, we don't know that well. So like literal fluids, water, it takes the shape of the container that they're in. History is fluid because it's always changing and evolving. That's the definition of fluids. Not that it's wet, but that it doesn't have a set shape, just like water in a water bottle. If I have a really tall water bottle, then my water, the liquid looks tall. But if I have a really short water bottle, but it's wide, then it takes a different shape. So what is the Paleolithic era? The first humans lived in the Paleolithic era, which is also known as the Old Stone Age. Paleo means old, so we're in the Old Stone Age. We are talking about 2,500,000 BCE to 10,000 BCE. So context between you and your grandparents is 2 generations. Even if you don't know your grandparents, never met them, that is 2 generations. 200,000 years ago is approximately 10,000 generations. You can imagine that. So early humans are traced to the African continent. This is really important to know. Oldest bones in carbon dating go back to the African continent. Humans made simple tools during the Stone Age, and they make them mostly from hard stones. They do hand axes, spearheads, bow and arrow, harpoon and fish hook, small statues, and bone flutes. And why while we might think that hand axes, spearheads, bow and arrows don't seem like amazing innovations, they were, because that meant that you could be further away from an animal and kill it. Okay, you can be further away from an animal and kill the animal, so you don't have to risk your life as much to kill an animal for food and for their fur or their hide. Paleolithic lifestyle characteristics. Paleolithic people are hunters and gatherers. They hunt animals for their food and they gather wild plants. They are not farmers. This is huge. They are hunters and gatherers. They hunt animals and gather plants. They're nomads. This is a vocab word, this unit. So they move place to place based on availability of resources. They live in small family-based clans. So we're talking maybe 20 people max. 20 people max. They have no permanent homes because they're always moving. They don't build these sturdy homes. They find temporary shelter like caves. When we did our environment gallery walk talking about some pros of mountains, they could find some temporary shelter that's already made, a lovely cave. If not, they're going to build a temporary shelter, or it's just kind of sleeping on the grass. Oral language. They do not have a written language. No written language means no written records, and this is prehistory, just an oral language. And imagine that most groups probably have a variance of what their language is within each family clan. Art is a form of communication, but it's not a written language or a character system. And they use art to share stories and myths. How they made paint animal fat was mixed with mineral ores. It normally made reds, yellows, and blacks, and handprints could be an artist's signature. Here are some images. So this one, and this one are cave art. This is just a modern day illustration of what a hunt might look like, and see how with the spear they can be further away from the animal but still be successful in killing. Here we see like a horse, we see hands. Maybe that was part of a ritual, or they were doing an autograph, what we might call an autograph, or an artist's signature. Maybe they had focused on animals with cave art to hope that they would have a good and successful hunt, since their life did depend on it, and that was most of the jobs in the clans, was to hunt and gather food. There is this video. I only want you to watch the middle section, so I've cut it down to that. Please watch this for a auditory visual piece. And no, this video is not footage from the Paleolithic era, but a recreation, because you're going to see some people. You will need to pause this lecture video and then resume this lecture video once you've finished the little video you see on your screen. Highlight the correct answers. Before you turn in your notes PowerPoint, I want you to highlight true or false. So true or false, history is rigid. True or false, early people are traced to Africa. True or false, Paleolithic people traveled in small family groups. True or false, Paleolithic people were hunters and gatherers. So whenever you have filled in your notes and you've highlighted true or false, true or false, true or false, true or false, you are then going to click the submit button, search your Google Drive for this file, upload it, and boom, on to the next thing.